Piero momoye, moye, Piero momoye, ato Piero ki avere, Piero momoye, ah Piero we, ndato Piero sopra no seide, ato Piero ki avere, akosia o, moye, Piero momoye, bosa bosa iko momoye, Piero ji mo were, mangoye mo, ah Piero ji mo were, mangoye mo, Piero we, bebe. Ha, Piero, Piero, momoye, moye, Piero, moye, Piero, moye, Piero, Piero, ba. La poche yo Piero, soy no dunia mon blé amado let's appeler. J'ai mon équipe agnonné, ma wadia équipe agnonné, j'ai blé bonné na kanyopo. Siabutiena, de kanywe, kanyon de koge, se perdite ya. Piero momoye, moye, Piero momoye, moye, Piero momoye, mogiarwa, oya wesa, moye, jibla, owo piyon boba, yerbono, ma boye bleye Piero we, Piero momoye, mon blé condition. Au pied mon de production. Assez au clano. Yahweh a bien le mot le côté. Piero moye, Piero moye, Piero moye. Erico na Piero moye. Ah Charlico na Piero moye. A to Piero moye. Ah, yeah, Piero, ah, Piero, moye, Erico jato Piero, Mare bomo jato Piero, Erico de bomo jato Piero, Miomo daka, yo jale koye nyobopa, Opa bla yede nyanye ye ble brakite, Jiao, anade bro ajabe hatia. Nyoro bade ki abudiye ono homono ne ka double so ba somo soble so danyo paseble asenyo na yeta esa ye dibo sanele e to Piero jawe ke to Piero point so weke to Piero iwa mo pa kaya no e ka sene la taya mo la osiane to Piero ki agba ile papa ko Piero a to Piero moye. Piero momoye, Piero momoye. Clayo padewe, nebo kango. Clayo padewe, nebo kango. Ah, tidieji. Ah, tidiewe. Ah, mara tidie me o. Ao. Gupa karito kwenye tawake. Asa o mande. Piero momoye, Piero momoye, ese sonia wutie, ase o. Mama sableye Angela Wene, ye bobo pambla wuye Angela Wene, nama bobo pambla wuye Angela Wene. Angela jo, machapa ke yo, daria jo. Moye Angela momoye, ah mama bo kembla, ja mama kembla de, weye wu. Ah, je sais ma Jackie, Mama Jose, Taniaki, Mada Nicola, Memotia, Mada Nicola, Taniaki, Nicola Breto Yamo, Ochuachi, Naipo de Wenge, Black on la Chili Agia, Agaro, Moye, Piero Moye, Piero moye, ale, moye.
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu,
Folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again for tuning into LIBERIA Public Radio. We appreciate it. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. Thank God for safety. Thank God for everything else. We appreciate it. And we say, God, continue to bless us. Lord Jesus, we're about to get on again tonight. We're all on air. But all that we ask, Lord, is for protection. Guide us, Lord. This disease doesn't know rich or poor. And therefore, we ask you to guide every movement of every one of us to stay alive. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, folks, let's get started here. It's a tough one here tonight. I'm a little bit late, but that's okay. That's okay. You say you want to come to work here anyway. You ain't got nowhere to go right now, so you just stay home. Let's enjoy ourselves. Thank you. I have to be back, folks. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. I can't do this without that.
We're
Thank you. We appreciate it. I still have to fix a few more things here. Just stay with me. It's a studio. One person operating. What do you want? We'll do our best. Okay. One person operation. So if you have anywhere to go tonight, that's okay. That's understandable. You don't have to necessarily tie yourself to the show. But those of you that are staying, I say welcome. Thank you. More comfortable now. Thank you very much for staying with us. Our show tonight is going to be a doozy. Let's start the show. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. Let's start with, as usual, the President of the Republic of Liberia. Dr. We are duly elected, folks. That's our President, Dr. Weah, duly elected by the Liberian people. And therefore, those of us that are on the other side, we accept, respect, and obey. Simple as that. Let's get going. That's the President of the Republic of Liberia, folks. I don't have my usual glasses here tonight, so things are a little bit tough, but just bear with us. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the video, walking, the mud, all that kinds of good stuff, because I'm a little bit late. I'm running behind here. So let's go straight to the show here tonight, folks. Here it is. The show here tonight, Mama Liberia is crying for these people. The corruption, I started here the other day, and it's still the same subject matter. The corruption in Liberia, not necessarily the officials themselves, every one of us. I said that the last time, I'll say it again. We're all, the corrupt behavior is in every one of us. It's within us, only us that can do something about it. If we want corruption to stop, it will stop. We wanted the war to stop, the war stop. Anything we want in our country, it will be done. Because that's our country. And we own that country, nobody else. We can't go outside to, this is not football game where you go borrow player to come play for you. No, this one you're on your own. You have to develop. You have to do things for yourself. And so if corruption, which have started way back, since 19 and we can't get out of it, that means we're not quite ready to go to the next step. But I would say to all of you that I think Liberians all over the world are ready to move to the next step. And from that perspective, I will speak on that particular issue tonight again. But before I do that, let me remind all of us, as I'm going to be talking about this government, previous government, and everything else. But let me remind you about the present government and what they have told us when they were coming into office. I think it's very fitting that we do this, remind ourselves what the president told us. In terms of leading, in terms of being able to bring Liberia to the next level, they lay it out in their, what they call the a blueprint, I call it. But they consider it to be a pro-poor agenda, which is a blueprint. So I will continue to remind us what the president told us and what is the pro-poor agenda. Without any ado, let me read that again. He said, fellow citizens, in January 2018, you entrusted me with the responsibility of leading the effort to build a capacity state that is united in purpose and full with hope and prosperity, Dr. Weah said. You made history through the first peaceful and democratic transition of power in 74 years. This ushered in the first generational change in national leadership through the populist vote since the introduction of universal suffrage in 1951. I wasn't even born at the time. Far from it. We will remain eternally grateful for this trust and will, to the best of my ability and with the blessing of God, strive to change the narrative on Liberia and bring about a more stable, prosperous, and democratic state in Africa. Therefore, he says, I take this opportunity to present to you the Propo Agenda for Prosperity and Development, a 5-year national plan from July 2018 to June 2023. Blueprint, that's the blueprint he's introducing to us. Now, when you do these blueprint, as I stated it last time, the blueprint in this case, the Propo Agenda, usually here in the diaspora or any other place when they have these community organization election, everything, they come out with a called platform where the leadership, those who are vying for this position, lay out where the people who they want their vote, they lay out what they're going to do for the organization, how they're going to improve situation for them. So all that is in their platform. In this case, Dr. Weah has already won, but they decided, they didn't have to do it, but they decided to tell us, Liberian people, and the world, how they're going to operate. Because remember, during the election, their thing was they were going to be change and hope. They're not going to do the same thing. They're going to be different, a different change generation. Let me read on. He asked a question now. What is the Propo Agenda, he asked. It is the framework for inclusion, more equitable distribution of our national wealth, and a right-based approach to national development for a new and better Liberia. Okay, now, if you make this kinds of statement, obviously you're telling us, if you're saying here, for example, for a new and better Liberia, that means you're bringing in something that is better than what it is, what it was at the time when you make this statement. So that means Dr. Weah and his people have recognized that Liberia was not better at that time. So now they're telling us what the blueprint going to do for us. And I'm reading these things here, I'm reminding us, as I'm going to be discussing these things here tonight. Based on these statements, I'm going to discuss certain things here, certain aspects of this government and how this government has been operating. And their operation is not hidden. And then thank God for that. Thank God for the social media. Every little, but anybody sneezing like, bro, we hear boy here in the United, I hear boy here in Sacramento. All I have to do is open a Facebook page and I'll start reading. So thank God for that. But let's go back to this. He's saying Liberia or new Liberia. So that means we're coming from old to new. You can't say new. You can't have a new thing and say new. It has to be old in order to be new. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you to pay attention to these key words as I'm going to try to emphasize these particular words that I believe that is something we need to pay attention to. Okay? Let me read on. It is the second in series of plans leading towards the goal of Vision 2030. It aligns our national plan with the AU Agenda of 2063, AU African Union, that is, and the Global Sustainable Development Goal. Okay. To develop the plan, we draw lesson from the design and execution of the agenda for transformation. Our recently expired National Development Plan implemented from 2012 to 2017, previous government have also laid out some agenda. And they're saying to us, Dr. Weah told us, I'm not, just so that you will know, we're all Liberians. We have a past administration that perhaps are giving us a roadmap, and we're going to go into that and take what we think we can use and leave what we can and fix it. So that's what it's saying here. From the previous administration, they have gone into that and bring and try to infuse that particular part of the agenda that they like, that they think is going to be prosperous for the Liberian people, that they take that particular part of the agenda from the Salif administration that can still be implemented with that fit within their narratives. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Let's go on, folks. If you can't follow this, then just to do you a favor, if you're not able to follow what I'm saying here, then you just do this here, click, and you'll be out. Okay? Because I'm trying my best here to lay it out. I'm not here to castigate or degrade or anything. I'm just laying things out. Okay, factual. This is a blueprint. This is the proper agenda. If you go and hustle it, you can get it, and you will read what I'm reading now. So I'm not making anything up. Okay. Okay. And we concluded that going forward, we should prioritize investment to stimulate sustainable economic growth, create new business opportunities, create jobs, and build the capacity of the Liberian people to prosper and enjoy life in a stable democratic environment. Let me read that again. And build the capacity of the Liberian people to prosper and enjoy life in a stable democratic environment. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. We will focus on bringing growth back to the economy. Okay, yes, there's another interesting one. If you're bringing something back, that means that thing left. But you're bringing it back because you enjoy it and you think the people like it and you think it's going to benefit the people. So that's why you're bringing it back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, let's go on. We will focus on bringing growth back to the economy by increasing productivity. I'm going to go into that a little bit. By increasing productivity through value chain with emphasis on agro processing and marketing, particularly fishery, oil palm, rubber, and other agricultural products. We will promote the production of rice, cassava, and vegetable using new technology. They were prepared. CDC-led government were prepared. I'm serious. I'm not trying to make fun of them. In order for you to put this kinds of thing for public consumption, you can't say things that you don't have and can't do. So in order for Dr. Weir to sit there and read this or send this thing out with his signature on it, okay, then that means they have those, whatever the equipment, whatever it's going to take to take this to the next level, they have it. Let's go ahead. Okay. The agriculture sector is a major source of foreign exchange and contribute more than 26% of the real GDP. The forest sector remains another viable area for economic growth and job creation. It contributed between 8 to 11% of the real GDP from 2012 to 2017 and has significantly potential for growth. We will pay attention to the natural resources governance so local community can increase their share of benefit from our national resources and work with the government to improve regulations of extra small scale and large scale activities. They're telling us they're going to do all they can to involve the local government. They are not talking about decentralization now. They're just saying we're going to get them involved without spreading our power around. But we will be with them. They will be part of us. We cannot, and this is what I want you to listen to again tonight. We cannot develop Liberia without quality infrastructure and skilled labor force. In this regard, we foresee a new Liberia. Again, that's the same word now, new Liberia. So that means there was an old Liberia, but they're going to do new Liberia. Okay? We foresee a new Liberia that is technologically enabled with information and communication technology, playing a fundamental role in improving lives of all citizens. Over the next 5 years, my government, Dr. Weir said, will invest in quality infrastructure, including roads, affordable energy, air and seaport telecommunication, housing, water and sanitarium, More importantly, we will invest in our people, particularly in their education, health, and in ending vulnerabilities. Folks, I'm having issues here tonight with my glasses anyway. Okay, the rest is history. I'm reading these things to you in a way to remind ourselves, not necessarily reminding the government, but I'm just saying to remind ourselves what the CDC-led government they told us through their blueprint of how they're going to govern. Corruption is my subject matter. Corruption in this government is not something new for the people of Liberia. Corruption has always been with us. In fact, I just come out and say this, and perhaps it's much more prevalent in the past than it is today. The different, in my opinion. And when I say here before, I used to say people think I was making fun. Young Liberians are sophisticated nowadays. Those days, most likely, in a young community, you only have maybe when I say young, anywhere from 25 to 40 years old. You have, and people who are progressive, who are involved, you have maybe 4 to 5 PhD. Today, within that same type of community, when you start counting the PhD, you will count all your fingers, take all your shoes, and start counting all your toes, and go borrow another person's body to count their finger and their toes. That's how many PhD we have in Liberia, from Liberia. So you can't fool. I'm just saying PhD. Then what's about those that don't even have that? But they are sophisticated and they have trained themselves. You can't fool them. You can't fool them anymore. So the difference now is that people's eyes are open. And to make things worse, CDC was in the opposition. And they were crying for everything. And they also saw a lot of what the government was doing, that perhaps they were saying that this is not how you're supposed to govern. This is not how you're supposed to bring prosperity into this country. And they were crying about it. While they were doing that, there was now this particular scenario that I'm laying out, there's 3 sets of group. The government has its group that was implementing what they thought was good for the country. And the opposition, specifically CDC, there's another group that was saying, no, we've seen a lot and we know you can't fool us anymore. This is not right and we're not going to take it. That's another group. The interesting group, this is the group that were not with the government, nor were they with the CDC. They were on the sideline watching the back and forth between the CDC and the government. In the meantime, the intellectual among this group that is on the side watching, they were taking notes. They were taking notes when the CDC used to come out and publicly make statements against the government. Whatever the government was doing that was wrong. And these people, they're also young. Just like majority of sedition. They were also smart, intelligent, just like the majority of sedition. Sophisticated as well, just like the majority of sedition. So they also were taking note. And they were watching. So, luckily for CDC, and as God could have it, they won the election. And when they won the election, the third group now, because the first group is out, CDC is in. So the third group now, it's okay. Let's see what CDC will do for us. Because they've been saying X, Y, and Z. So this government is the government that's going to be able to take Liberia to the next level. And Liberia was jubilating. And to make things very interesting, Dr. Weah's inaugural speech opened the door for hope and prosperity, believing Liberians think that it was time they were ready. Dr. Weah's inaugural speech lay out exactly what Liberia has been waiting for over years and years and years. Interesting. Dr. Weah grew up in Gibraltar. And I'm not saying this in the Congo countries, not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. Dr. Weah grew up in Gibraltar, grew up in the street of Monrovia. Dr. Weah went overseas in another profession and did well and came back. The son of Liberia, who has trained himself abroad. Now he's back with new ideas. And when he gave that speech, the ideas that was in that speech was ideas that young Liberians were gravitating towards. Even some of us, the old people, will say, thank God, thank you, Jesus, that you kept me alive for me to see this day. We were all anxious. And CDC came to power. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we started noticing, those of us that was on the social media, we started noticing things that were not quite in line with the speech. You remember Dr. Weah and his people used to go on the football field. Koko dioko, we are the massive, we can't get tired. They started, when you start singing those are battle cry for election. When you're trying to win an election, you're convincing people that you are the massive, you can't get tired. But you won. So why not be inclusive? You told us here you're going to be inclusive. We saw the Minister of Information, Deputy Minister of Information, from cartel preaching of the cartel. You remember that? Eugene Fakon? Cartel, Liberian political cartel. From there now, it went up to the next level of the enemy of the state. Having told us, blueprint that I'm holding here, explained to us that they were going to be inclusive. Now they're finding enemy of the state. They decided, in fact, I was in Monrovia when that was happening. They were going to replace people who have been in the offices, government position, and replace them with CDC supporters. Inclusive? Okay. And we started noticing these things. We started noticing. You will see Samuel Twe and Eugene Nabe and other people go on social media and tell everybody to shut up, put your hands to their mouth, shh, hushing us up. You can't say much. They don't know. These are people. You see, that's how interesting it was. These are people daily. They used to face the threats of South Beach because of their criticism of the past government. But now they're in power. They don't want you to say anything. The intellectual that was among the third group, they say, wait a minute. We're just not going to, this is the country belong to all of us. Remember that. You guys were saying these type of stuff. We were hoping that you get in, that we will be successful. Now you're telling us something else. What's going on? They started questioning corruption. Corruption is not necessarily taking people things that don't belong to you, but using something to the level that is not meant to be used. That's part of corruption. Corruption. So they started creeping in. I'm reminding all of us here that corruption, though didn't start a long time ago, didn't start just yesterday, it's been with us for a very long time. And let me prove that here again. Okay? This is 1974 inaugural, not inaugural, but okay, annual message by Dr. Tauber. I'll just read a little bit of it. This is back in 1974. And this is what he said. Listen to this. Listen to this. A very interesting piece that I pick up on this one. He said, we as a nation and people should strive to be self-reliant. It is absolutely imperative that we encourage a conscious awareness of what we are, where we are, and what we stand for as Liberians. You can make this speech today and it will just be just as powerful as it was back in 1974. Because why? Nothing has changed. Nothing have changed. I just thought I'd read a little bit. There's a lot in here, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So when you have these kinds of behavior, that always eat in the fabric of Liberians. And then you have young people coming to power and making these kinds of pronouncements and raise your hope to the level never seen before in Liberia. Why will you not be disenchanted if these things are not being done the way they said they were going to do it? Corruption. Mama Liberia, she's still crying for her kids. Weeping still for the kids. Because the way things are going back home, they're not right. They're not right. You don't have to stay here and criticize or accuse the government of stealing X, Y, and Z. I have no proof. I can't make those kinds of pronouncements. But if you have issues that affect people, they affect the mind of the citizen, you must be able to address the citizenry as to why they're feeling the way they're feeling, so that perhaps if anything you can ease their mind. This is what this government refused to do and have not done so. The people who are responsible to be the mouthpiece of the government, either they try to find, in the case of Honorable Eugene Facon, either they try to find enemy of the state, or in the case of Eugene Nabwe, Minister of Honorable Eugene Nabwe, he defends the president because it's his childhood friend or whatever it is, and so he can't do wrong. These are not signs that a responsible government will want to take. As a responsible government, in my opinion, not that people can accuse you falsely, and I'm not asking you to go and answer every question that anybody accuses you of, that you have to run and start saying, oh, I'm supposed to do this. No. But when these rumors start flying all over the country, it affects the mindset of the people against you. They think, let me speak the real Liberian English. They think you're playing way in our country. The first thing you need to know, everybody in our country, they are just as young as you guys. They have not invested a lot in Liberia to say, I got so much to lose. You have to understand that. Somebody who is 30, 40 years old, how much has he invested in Liberia? At that age, the person is still even trying to get out of college so that he will try to put his foot into the door for him to start building something. You think how much investment they got in our country to care so much of it? They care because of their parents. They care because of those of you that are in leadership. They believe in you. But you got to be careful. These are Liberians. They are not foreigners. You cannot continue to neglect these people and expect them to just lay down because you have power. Sooner or later, they're going to call your bluff. I told you before, and I'm saying it again. The opportunity that Dr. Weir and his people had, I've not seen such opportunity before, according to me. Let me lay out the opportunity that I think here. Dr. Weir is #1 popular person in the whole country. And those who are around Dr. Weir refuse to use that popularity for his benefit. They're not using it. Let me take a few. Let's go a few steps back. When Dr. Weir made some amazing announcement, because he came in, one of the things he said here, infrastructure. So he came in and made a major announcement that he's going to do a coastal road. And people like me, as an engineer, I was so happy. I was toting the horn here. I played some video and stuff like that. Shows, this is how we're going to be singing the song, praise singer. But the money that was supposed to do the thing, that was supposed to do the job, was not going, they didn't go after it really in terms of transparency. It was faulty. And so young Liberians challenged that. How can you do X, Y, and Z and you say this is what it is? They said no. That was the first sign. And I thought Dr. Weir and his people are going to understand that young Liberians are sophisticated nowadays. They don't hate you. But when you allow these people who seeking their own interest to use that interest for them to wrap it around or put a diaper on it and call it Liberia interest. The young Liberian, the young sophisticated Liberian, their eye can see through. They will challenge you every time. It hasn't failed. So there were people who decided they wanted to do business. This is not do government, for Christ's sake. This is not double time, for Christ's sake. You can stay right here and talk to somebody in Town tonight. That not radio, I call it radio grant or whatever grant they used to have to do. You don't do that anymore. And the thing that baffled me about Dr. Weir and his people is this. They open up the system, the media. They open up the communication process for people to communicate freely. But at the same time, the transparency among themselves is not there. That's very interesting. How are you going to say, because you have a glass house, then you want to hire air here and there? You think people are going to see it? That was kind of buffering for me. And I'm like, what's going on here? So the first time he made that announcement, the loan he was going to go after, the people, the young Liberians, just as sophisticated as they are too, they said, no. This is not what's happening. I've been to school. You can't fool me anymore. They started going deep into it, making so much noise that the international community started paying attention to it as well. That loan, nowhere. And I thought to myself, if this government, with all of these issue things that they have written in this blueprint here, pro-poor agenda, if they're serious, I will see. They let it die, and that was the end. They decided they're going to do map out. I'm not even going to touch the $16 billion issue. Let me talk a little bit about $16 billion issue. $16 billion issue. When they first started, remember how this person would say one thing, the other person said one thing. Before they look, we got people saying different, speaking for the same government, but speaking in different languages. Some were speaking Kran, some were speaking Gyo, some were speaking Mana. By the time they come to the English part, everything was scattered. Liberian was so confused. So the smart, now I'm telling you, folks, this is interesting. I told you before, if you are not here from the beginning, let me lay it out again. This whole process The CDC, one group. Ellen and her group, one group. The other group, they were not part of Ellen, they were not part of CDC, but they was on the side watching. They're Liberians as well. So this group said, wait a minute, CDC, you told us this. So they said, okay, since this government is not being transparent in providing information, now people, $16 billion got missing in Liberia. Where part of Liberia we go? You're going to take that $16 billion and take it to total? People will not know. But because of the weakness within the government to provide information, accurate information, caused Liberian people up to this point. People still believe that the $16 billion went to some people's pocket. So the fact that the government was not able to provide the information to the citizenry to listen, this group that were there, they said, oh, that's what I want to do. We will provide the information for you. We will improvise. Since you're not telling us, we're going to tell the Liberian people what bad things you're doing. That fair thing. Instead of the government finding an enemy of the state, you come out from day one and lay it out. How the money was printed, who printed the money, who did what, and what happened. Yeah, there was some mistake that was made, but we didn't take anything. From day one, you start preaching. One message, every one of you stick to that. But they were not doing it. Finance minister was saying different things. Information minister was saying, you remember that? I'm not making it up. Oh. So once these smart Liberians find out that this government was not quite ready in terms of messaging, they said, we will help you guys. So this group decided to help. They started giving message out for the government. And when the message got interesting, people started gravitating towards those kinds of messages. Because the government was not telling them anything. Doctor, we have never came out publicly. Good evening, citizen. My fellow citizen, this is your president. In the last 2 or 3 days, you guys been reading a lot of things. People say they took money, $16 billion loss. Nothing like that. This is the real story. Let me tell you from my own mouth. So when anybody come and start telling you, you will say, Dr. Wiase, are your son, and you know are your president. So if anybody come here to want to save money, we will deal with them. But this is the true story. He never did that. The people who Dr. Wia was relying on to give information, they also were speaking in fact, it came a time, one time, that the finance minister and the information minister were speaking past each other. $16 billion. The people say, oh, this is what we have. Okay. Just within that time, Dr. We have 19th Street building started demolishing it, ready to build new one. Well, whoa, wait a minute. Folks, I'm putting some fun into these things, but I will tell you, if these things are happening, even in your own house, in your family, those of you that come from a large family, what of this thing I'm just giving you, what has happened, you're not stranger to it. If this thing was happening in your own family, don't you think by now you'll start throwing witty? How you would trust somebody? After we started building, the people said, okay, he got that his property. First thing, other comment was, if you think that building no longer good for you, why you can't turn it out to other homeless people? But then the question was, that's not for you, that's for him. He has the right to do whatever you want to do with it. Okay, then the question was, how are you coming up with the money? When you were playing soccer, you built a house. Why didn't you build it the way you wanted? When you were senator, how come you didn't improve this thing? Out of a sudden, you're president. We're talking $16 billion. Out of a sudden, people start speculating. And the people, the same group, those that among this group that got big mouth, they said we will help the government. Dr. Weah and his people, just recently, before they started talking about the house, this 19th Street or 60, whatever street in Single, this building, just recently, Smith Toby talk about it, Eugene Nagwe talk about it. Before then, they were putting their hand finger to their mother. And you expect the people to be quiet? These are just as young as you are. They are just as sophisticated as you are. You can't fool them, even if you're not stealing. But if you start dancing, then they say, oh, okay, then I wear. You see where I'm going with this? So they themselves say, wait a minute. These people, again, this group, this is the interesting group. This is the interesting group. And I'm not going to beat around the bush yet, and I will tell you who part of this group. I'll tell you that. But this group, they said, wait a minute. If this is what these people do, we will provide the information. And the information they started providing, some of the information, most likely, might not even be true. But the fact there was no counter information from the government, forget about counter information. The government should have stayed ahead to provide information to the Liberian people. They're not hearing from them. And then this group continue to feed the Liberian people with information, what they believe is the information. At the same time, they were asking this group. You see, one thing I like about this group here, one thing I like about it, and yes, the interesting thing now, and then this is no secret. Majority of the old people from the early people, they say, oh, that group here, we will help you. We will be behind you. They started helping, not necessarily feeding the information, but they were there as a support, older support for this group. So, this group said, okay, code of conduct issue. Where's your declaration, Mr. President? We asked you to declare a long time ago. No comment. They used to do that. They, shh, please, don't bother me. I'm busy. I'm trying to build a nation. Yeah? Mr. President, I came on air. Mr. President, I've seen this record play before in my own community. Come and talk to your people. Because the thing that I was afraid of is exactly what's happening. If this group get hold of the people that trusted you and started putting doubt in the mind of the people that trust you, you will have serious issue. But here's the thing here. Those of us that were preaching there were fighting another group. This group decided they're going to put Dr. Weah in a bubble. Come to Papa. I told you guys, I will not hide. Go and research my video, you'll find it. The people you say, come to Papa. The people that don't like you, Dr. Weah. I the only one that like you. I'm seeking your interest. Instead of not seeking my interest, they say I'm seeking your interest. So Dr. Weah now going to these people, they put him in a bubble. We couldn't get to him anymore. So all of the mistakes was happening. If this government here, my people, what happened? Corruption. It's not necessarily taking people money and go stealing it. That's not what I'm talking about. Corruption of the mind is just as deadly as taking people money. Corruption, moral corruption. And you allow these moral corrupt people to sit around you, you're going nowhere. And this is what we have. So, the Senko building were going on. They said they were not going to talk to nobody. Then the $25 million map out came up. What happened? Oh, y'all find out. You know what it reminds me of? I have two guys that I'm working with here on LPR. When I call the other guy, the station manager, oh, Papa, I will tell you. When the time comes, we'll tell you. But I have fun with that. But on a very serious note, on a national level, this is exactly what it goes. We'll tell you when the time ready. They were doing map up. Then, interesting thing, Dallas Dillon, he's the first person here I'm calling right now. Dallas Dillon expressed interest in not necessarily to say I'm going to run, but we all knew he was going to run. But what he did, he opened his backyard, where he allowed people, former government employees, who are very knowledgeable in terms of financing the thing, to come use his backyard to challenge the government. Oh, it was very interesting, very interesting. But people, some of us are watching. It's not that we were not paying attention, we were watching. So one night he brought this one kid up, young guy, and the guy was talking about wage bill. At that time, wage bill part, they don't even talk about it. He said, this is what he said. I'm paraphrasing now. This wage bill, if they're not careful, this is what the issue of the government having serious problem in terms of economy falling. This is what's going to break them down. Because when they came in, they decided to increase the wage bill by employing more than what they have. They decided to employ more than what the revenue was able to support. You remember that? He said, if you do that, you're asking for trouble because you don't have money to pay. And then the first thing you want to start cutting, long before Samuel 12 then start harmonization stuff, that was under Dallas Dillon podcast. I mean, this thing here has been very interesting. It's been very interesting. And I keep asking you pay attention. Because if this thing falls and people call the bluff of the government, it's going to be deadly. Here's the interesting thing here that I keep saying. Most of the people in Liberia, they are just as young as those that are within the government. And you know when you were young, crowd of boy, how many times you not cave into another crowd of boy? You're sitting down drinking, then a man walk in the bar, crowd of boy walk in the bar, start talking all kind of nonsense. You will sit down there, I beg you ready to go challenge him. But old men like me, you think I'm sitting down, I don't even go to the bar anyway. Somebody come and start talking all kind of thing, bluffing. You think I want to challenge him? Let me take my satoka and go here. I don't want no problem. Because I'm old. But young men will not do that. He said, hey, you crazy? You don't see me sitting there. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Mama, put yourself together. That we keep coming. And this is what I'm afraid of. So let's go back. So the government decided to employ people, and people were saying it. The wage bill was going to be an issue. They didn't do anything. They continued to employ. The man said, first thing, the issue you're going to have, because you will have so much people here, you're not going to be able to support them, then you will start cutting people, people's salary. And eventually you're going to start cutting security salary. That's not good. That's dangerous. We were warned. But anyway, corruption, not necessarily taking something that don't belong to you. Corruption. You know you ain't able to do anything. A specific tax. Instead of you to say, my man, I can't do that one, call somebody to do it so we can move on. You say you can do it, but you can't do it. That's corrupt behavior. Not necessarily taking people money, but let's go on. So the $16 million map-up came up. Say, what happened with the money here? So, we'll tell you. The international community, bloop, they started getting involved. Now they were forced now to bring audit. They brought audit people in, they did the audit. They said, nothing, the money is here, but the process was flawed. Guess what? Samuel was said, I'm not part of it. That the Bank of Liberia and the people that they wanted, Samuel was a captain. How you be captain of the team? Then he said the people scope anything, that's my business. You captain on the field. Were you not able to talk to the people to play decent ball? And you telling me that's not your business? Samuel 12 said that was not your business. Corruption. Think you know you can't do Don't say I can't. That's a corrupt behavior. So they went ahead and decided to do that. The report came up. It's not final yet. They're still waiting. We're still waiting for a report. But little stuff the government continued to do that is not conducive, that will not bring zero thing for Liberia. Another one. Remember the gas shortage? Based on what? Was it really shortage that the people were not able to import? No. Somebody decided they know plenty. They decided to do measurement, and instead of actually doing a serious measurement, they decided to estimate, and they were wrong. And that thing almost wrecked the government. Where's that report? We don't know. All of these things that I'm bringing up here this afternoon, folks, it's not for me to rehash past thing, but one thing I believe in, if you don't look back, if you're going, you keep going, you don't look back, you will not find your mistake. It's better to find mistake and you say, okay, I need to correct these things. When we ask for the government to do reshuffle, not necessarily to say those people that are doing it, kick them out. But reshuffle so people with fresh idea will come and move the ball. But the people the people you have, they're so much entrenched into their idea that they're the best. In that kind of bravado, I'm the best. You can't do nothing. Without me, you can't move. They believe in themselves like that. And that's dangerous. You have millions Liberians. And these people, you don't move in them. It's not healthy. So, in the proper agenda, they told us they were going to be inclusive. They told us they were going to be inclusive, generational inclusiveness. We don't see it. Yes, the other interesting thing before I go to learn here this afternoon. This group, let me go back to this group again. This group is very interesting. This group, even though they were not part of CDC, in CDC criticism of the selling government, but they were watching, as I stated already. And so that made them very interesting. They also are quite aware of the CDC and their hierarchy, how they live, how they function in Liberia. They know each other. They know what they have before coming in, and they know what they don't have. So this group sitting here, within less than 2 years, this group, some of them used to eat dry rice. When you see them now, you can't believe it. When you see the place they live, you can't believe it. And some of this intellectual, this group is very intelligent as well. They're saying to themselves and to the Liberian people, how these people, I'll give you an example. Let's just take Mayor Kochi. How much Mayor Kochi making? Honestly. And if you know his salary, if you multiply by 3 years, is that enough to get him to where he is now? The lifestyle he has now? Let's go to Samuel Tua. Let's go to Michael. All these brothers. Why it is not proving? I don't have no proof to say they're corrupt. But I'm telling you, let's look at their salary. Because in order for you to live in a lifestyle, you must be able to bring in income. And the income that is agreed upon between you and your employer, is that income enough to support the lifestyle that you have now? If it is, then so be it. But if it is not, what is the supplemental? What the other one coming from to fill the gap? So then you don't want Liberian to ask questions. Then I think you're missing the boat. All of these things. Let's go on. Let me go on to the next one. Why I'm saying all these things tonight. Corruption is not necessarily stealing. But if your mind is corrupt, you have issues. Because if your mind is not free, you can't function properly on a normal stage. Okay? And if you follow people who are corrupt, even if you are not corrupt, you will always be perceived as being corrupt. So there was an article in there's an article. Armo Eugene, now we're telling her to shut up. So, shh, don't ask questions. So there's an article in Daily Observer, Liberian questioning Dr. Weah quite recently. You saw the 19th Street or whatever street anybody's in Sinker, the building that he broke down, the new one he made it. They call it Presidential Palace now. In Liberia, Dr. Weah, in Liberia, where most people might not even be able to find food tonight. We're not in Kuwait. We're not in Saudi Arabia, and you have a presidential palace among your people. I find that hard to believe when I read this story. The name they have for that building, I found it hard to believe, because the reason why I find it difficult to believe, because like I said, I've been following Dr. Weah for a very long time. I play ball, and I used to coach high school soccer in Canton, Ohio. Okay, North Canton to be specific. So when I was coaching, Dr. Weah was at the height of his football career. So people used to say, "Oh, you're from Liberia? You know Dr. Weah?" "No, I don't know him, but I know of him," I always say. And so with that kinds of respect, and when Dr. Weah was in that position, you never run the red or somebody coming to you to say, "Oh, the man there your guy from over there, he in trouble, he doing this, he doing that." Nothing. You never heard anything. All you hear, because I used to go to this soccer function, we go to this club to go play, take my boys over to go play, and go to another club to go play. So before that, then we'll come back to the high school section, and all the conversation about Dr. Weah, nothing negative. And I also used to see Dr. Weah was going to these refugee camps, Ghana, Nigeria, those places. And when he gets there, people all over happy to see him. So Dr. Weah has always been people person, as far as I see it. What happened? And now you're reading Presidential Palace in Monrovia, where as we speak, some people might not even have food to eat today. Presidential Palace. So it's in Daily Observer. So Eugene Nabwe, he's sick right now. He's still in the hospital. So he got angry. People spoiling his body's name, his friend's name. And so he decided to defend. And some of the statements he made, they are, once again, when you make these kinds of pronouncements, you invite young, sophisticated Liberians to challenge you, because they will dig into this thing. And tomorrow, be next week, they will chakla all the things Eugene Nabwe say. And it will hold no water. They will pour hole into it. It will be more than they save. You remember that thing that people can save palm butter? Eugene Nabwe right now is sealed. But when these young Liberian, young sophisticated Liberian, when they get hold of his statement and pour hole into all these statements he's making, the water, it won't even be able to hold rock, let alone hold water. But Eugene Nabwe's argument was, Dr. Weah made a lot of money when he was playing ball, true. And that he able to still do that, to be able to, he said Dr. Weah I think it's 38, more than 38 buildings he owned in red light area. Business, stores, people rent from him. Wow. Those things was not, unless I didn't read it, Because during his first declaration when he was running for Senate, maybe it was there, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. So why was it hidden? Or from the time he became a senator, is that when the building was built? Okay. Yeah, he got houses, he got building all over the world. That's fine. He got building, according to him, he got building in Abidjan. I didn't say. If it is true, and those things were not listed, why? Why? Corruption. Not being truthful. It's a form of corruption. Why was he hiding it? Is he not capable of building those kinds of stuff? So when you make these kinds of pronouncements in the defense of Dr. Weah, you put Dr. Weah in more hot water than you think you're helping. Because people are going to look into it. Now with this kinds of statement, they're going to find out who owned what in red light. Wait and see, before the end of the month, you will find Liberian people start saying, oh, he owned the one, he owned it. So why were they not listed if they're not listed? You see where I'm going with this thing? So the idea that you're going to defend your friend, which is honorable, is good because he's your friend. You're supposed to protect him. You're supposed to defend him. But don't defend him with anger. Because when you're angry, you tend to miss the truth. Okay? Let me see if I can read one of those things. According to Nagbe, the property in question were ongoing construction before President Weah ascended to the presidency. Okay. Building takes time, he said. You know the building you're talking about? The old BB building there. Okay. Imagine it is almost 2 years now since they started building his property on 9th Street. Okay, that's 9th Street. They don't got 19th Street. That's 9th Street. Okay, Nagbe said, if he is stealing money as claimed by his credit, he should have done that with, no. You see, when you make the kind of, for me, you've said all kind of thing, I believe you. But the young Liberians, sophisticated Liberians, they're not going to take that kind of thing. It just doesn't make sense. You say he's stealing. So if you are stealing, why can't you finish it now? First thing, let's go ahead. Let's be sensible, Lisbeth. They're not your money. So let's suppose your statement you're saying here that, okay, he's stealing. So you think you will steal money and you use it and finish the building one time? No, he's smart. So you go smart. What wrong with you? You think the people that they will pour a hole in my statement so much, he himself will not like it. Okay? So when you're going to defend the president, the statement here that is much more credible, but he said it in an angry way that is not going to go down with people either. He said, if the people believe that Dr. Weah is stealing, they can go through the through the anti-corrupt agency that's supposed to investigate, and they can call for audit. But I think there's a process, though. I'm not too sure if Samson can just come from Sacramento tomorrow and get a Liberian and say, I'm a Liberian citizen, I want you to edit my president. I'm not too sure if that's going to work. So when you make these kinds of statements, then it's viewed by us or by me as being angry. You lay out the process. Nagbe is a highly educated person. You lay out the process. If you believe the president is stealing your money, and we've been around, this is a process you go through. And if the president is stealing your money, you will find out. You go through the audit, and these are the people you need to talk to. But you don't do that one. Say, you think the man stealing, and you go bring the audit. Go on how do you call it? Go on Daily Observer, you will read it. You will read it, the article that I'm talking about. The only reason why I'm not going to read all of it here, because it's kind of, he said, yes, another one he said, he owns a huge property in Abidjan. He also owns a number of big property in America. He has been very careful in using his money. He said, adding, the last time I checked, I found out that the president owned 38 of the business stores in the commercial hub red light. They say he owned 38 buildings over there that people are renting. So if that's the case, then the president must be rich. Then the president must be rich. So if that's the case, because if you own 38 buildings in Liberia, and I think the declaration the last time, how much is that? What? The total amount, maybe about 500,000 or something like that. Million plus, maybe. But if you own all of these things, why these things? Why is this kinds of information not part of the declaration? Why are they coming out now? Because you're angry? Why didn't you declare your assets and list all of these things and make it? You see, when you open it up, people got nothing to say. Some of us will still question, will still maybe more. But only I will be more. Liberian people going to see us and say something to him, mean business, man. The man feeling giving all your people that you're coming still making be more. But yet the same thing we're asking for. Asset declaration. Now, you're doing, don't look now, Minister Nabe, but you guys are doing asset declaration now. Now the people, other people, this group, the intelligent people around this group, going to start forcing you. You know what? You know what I say? They put finger on your throat, you will cough it off. You will cough it. Your best bet coming from me. This is what you need to do. Sit, because this thing not going to go away. This thing not going to go away. Sit down and put it on paper and turn it over to the press. Let them chakra. They come out, you get answer for it because you're the one putting it together. But at least you're giving them something instead of making an interview like this and coming out now, they're telling us that the man got 38 billion in red light. He got billion in Abidjan. We know that. I never heard that before. This is my first time hearing that. But of course, there are a lot of things I've never heard before anyway. Okay? So this is the corrupt behavior that I'm talking about. Because if you're not willing to list these things as an access in your access declaration, but because you're angry, people attacking your friend, your childhood friend, people attacking him, now you're angry, and because of that you want to do a fly-by-night asset declaration, then that doesn't count. You got to do better than that. And the thing about it is, you people are highly educated. You're smart. And the thing you have to understand, just the way you're smart, the guy other Liberians that are just as smart as you are. So you can't fool them. You can't. And I hope maybe by tomorrow or so they will come and say, oh, they still made a man made that coronavirus talk. He has so much medicine in him that he was not able to talk. Who knows? You heard the leak. The whole thing is so interesting. You heard a leak from Moruba Mori the other day. Why you're not putting this thing together? So we'll continue to pray. The Liberia come on top with the virus. I have another video here, but I'm not going to play it right now. I'll make that on Wednesday's video. There's an old man in Kakata who used to support Dr. Weah since he started supporting them since 2005. But he's no longer in support. And one of the interesting statements he made, that was very interesting. He said, if I was educated, I would challenge this government just like Yaka Koluba is doing. Because that's the only kind of language this government understands. He was angry because Samuel Twe said that the stimulus package that they're putting together is not going to go all over, enough for everybody. So his question was, is Samuel Twe the Minister of Information now? This is the man that lives in Kakata. I will play that video. This is very interesting. So the way things are going with Dr. Weah, it's just not good for all of us. Okay, let me bring you my fakes now, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Pub Radio. Before I bring up my fakes here, let's listen to this man from Singapore. Let him tell us how this during the days how the Singaporeans themselves dealt with corrupt behavior. What do they do for them now to be not corruption free, but the people who want to do corrupt business, you will be careful. Let's listen to this guy. Samson to LIBERIA Pub Radio.
And I would give every student who came to the Lee Kuan Yew school the same lecture. I said, I'm going to share with you the secret of Singapore's success free of charge. And I to tell the students that if you implement this secret formula, your country will succeed. And I captured a secret formula with the acronym in English, MPH. The M stands for meritocracy. Meritocracy means that you select the best people to run the country. And what brings many countries down, especially in the third world, is that when it comes to selecting the finance minister or the economics minister, they will give their jobs to their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their relatives, and not to the best people. And Singapore did the exact opposite. In Singapore, their jobs were given to the best people. And in the case of the Prime Minister of Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, when he went to study in Cambridge University, he was the top student in the class, if not in the university. In fact, his professors were so impressed, they said, you should become a mathematician because you'll become a world-class mathematician. Then he went to study in another great university, the Harvard Kennedy School. And in that university, he's one of the few students to get an article published in a Tier 1 economics journal. Very few students get articles published in a Tier 1 economics journal. So he's incredibly brilliant. And so if the best man of the job is Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's son, then he should be selected. Not on the basis of the fact that he's a relative, but on the basis that he's the best person for the job. So meritocracy is the first pillar of Singapore's secret formula. The second pillar is P, and P stands for pragmatism. Pragmatism is an English word, and it's an English concept. But the best definition of
You heard it, folks. And this is, for me, that's the radical pronouncement that I have. You do something, you steal anything, we'll put you in jail. Okay? Now, I'm not going to be here that long tonight, so let me go ahead and open the line up. And if you want to give me a call, please do so. Samson to LIBERIA Pub Radio. And let's talk about some of the things. I'm not here to say the government is corrupt, they're stealing this and that, but I'm just saying corruption hurts all of us. Not necessarily the government or anything else. It hurts all of us. Because the fact that your brother and sister are not able to eat tonight, tomorrow morning or Friday or so, next Friday, as soon as you get paid, you're sending money home. So we all do that. So let me put my number up. Samson to LIBERIA Pub Radio. Give me a call. My bag, glasses here tonight. Let's go ahead. That's my number. Give me a call here. Let me play music while I'm waiting, reading your stuff.
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Romeo, Samson. Don't put it on water to mommy. When I finish with the phone, I'll come for you. Hey, Samson, how you doing, my brother? No, I'm not seeing nothing bad today. I'm alright. How you doing today? Hello? Hello?
Okay, yeah, here we go. Can you hear me? There we go.
I'm alright.
Okay.
I'm just... Hello?
Make a point, my brother.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Well, yeah, man. Hello. Yeah, I like your analysis. You know, you go... Yeah, I got you. You go back to the crux of you go to the crux of the matter. And you see, most time I tell my fellow Nigerians that even though you support the government, you voted the government in, we all are now at the mercy of the government. So we have to kind of like always be able to put the government on the right line and tell the government when the government is doing wrong. I said, if you got a friend and the friend can't tell you when you're wrong, that friend is not your friend, not your enemy. He kind of dig hole for you. And you hit a lot of points that I really enjoyed, and not that this government, like I said, and I continue to tell people, not that everything the government is doing is bad. It's just that there are more suffering, so the people they are more suffering in personal gain. So people can the benefits or the achievements are overshadowed by personal gains, and the suffering is just continually growing. But there are things this government can do, and I wish that our president could listen to your show today and get to know that nobody speaking against the ill of Liberia is hating him as a person. He's just hating the way the government is being driven. And he needs his lieutenant to step up. You know, like I tell people, I've never, since 2005, I did not support Joshua Kennedy. Not because I don't believe that he's a good person, but because I know that he believes in friendship. My brother, that boy is governed by friendship. Friendship made him broke. Friendship made all his properties to go down. That 9 feet house, he made it to King's Lodge. King's Lodge broke down in the jiffy. The common people say in the jiffy, it broke down because it was poorly managed. And why? He had his friends there. What did he do? Nothing. The president needs to get out of friendship and get back to reality. Friendship will not move this country forward. We need real action, real things. When you stay there and listen to people who dare to blessing his praises and not tell him the facts, you will continue to be misled. You know, I understand the the information ministers and these ministers backing him and telling, when people go to audit, they fail to know that the beginning of audit doesn't start when the people come in. It starts from back. When people start to go into your declaration, those things that you did not declare but you achieve over a short period of time become questionable. And that's what you're letting him, that's what you're telling Eugene right now. That look, we want this president to be clear. We don't want to say he's corrupt. We don't want to say the government is corrupt. But it is easy when people are amassing wealth in this time where there's a lot of development that's needed. There's a lot of policy needs to be made. There's a lot of people whose lives need to be uplifted. And they only depend on the government. You cannot create jobs. You cannot create jobs when you are still going to allow the facilities that should be privatized. That's why the rate bill is so high. Because you got these public agencies that if they don't make the money, the government got to pay. The government got to pay the employees. If the company don't make the money, the government got to look in the cost to pay the employees. Because they are public businesses. But if you privatize it, you don't have to worry on whether they get paid or not. You just got to worry on them paying the taxes to the government. And these are things that people need to kind of think and look at it. Like you said, they had a good blueprint. They presented a blueprint that they're not following. So how can you tell somebody that you will build a capacity when there is no capacity building going on right now? People cannot even go to carpenter school. They cannot do masonry because why? They don't have the money. One, two, the facilities are so minimal. So minimal that the number of persons you don't have that many people to go there. Then you look at our school system. I mean, there's a lot of things this government promised that is not accomplishing. Yeah, when you look at the people agenda is a good roadmap, only if it is followed.
Right.
Then it got to be followed by people who have the mind of sacrificing to see the country go up. Not people who have the mind to enrich themselves first and look at the country next. I mean, if George Weah doesn't win the next election, whoever wins that election decides to audit the entire government, every last one of those guys will come down with embezzlement. I'm being honest with you. Every last one of them will come down with embezzlement. Because they have amassed wealth. That when you go back in the account history, you will see when those wealth started to be amassed. And then there's questions. So we need to study, like you said, corruption is hurting every last one of us. It's hurting the nation, it's hurting the people, and then, oh my brother, this topic brought on my man. I call it a refresher. This refresher cares man back to a lot of things. You got $25 million that you use.
Thank you. We will continue to do this here for about a week before we move on to another subject matter. Because the reason that I'm doing this, I want people to understand that the corruption issue, even though there are different type of corruption, and most of those type that I have in mind are all applicable in Liberia. But it didn't just start with Liberia. I mean, it didn't just start with Dr. Weah. It's been going on for a very long time. And I have some document here that I'm going to be going into. But thank you for your call. Yeah.
Let me make the last point before I leave.
Yeah. Okay, please.
We were not talking about the government officials and the president, but those are just the higher ups. We ourselves who are in the grassroots, we are the major people who are corrupt.
Yes.
Where the big men taking their own, so I gotta take my own. No, you don't have to take your own. Not because the big men feeling you gotta steal. We are the major people that are corrupt, and we are so much so our soul.
Well, let me put you on the spot.
To think about ourselves.
Let me put you on the spot. Let me put you on the defense a little bit. You're saying this here because you're here in the United States. You think if you were put in a position in Liberia, you don't think that you might find yourself somehow bothering the same type of disease, which is the corruption our brothers and sisters are bothering right now back home?
I will never sit here and tell you, say, I've been and I have been doing it. You see, most time people, I don't like to go into the age. Okay, I live in, I just came to Nigeria about what, 14 years ago. I came to the States about 14 years ago. Okay? I had a quote, and I always say, if I will have to take something that goes to the government, I must give the government a large portion and I must take a small portion. That's corruption, and that's justification. That's corruption. I'll be honest with you, that's corruption. I will not sit here and sell myself or as a sin. Okay, I will not sell myself or as a sin. The reason I say it goes back down to us, remember, I did not say to them, I say it goes back to us. If we, the grassroots, decide to say, listen, that you first, then we will go forward from there, that we will go forward. You know, but it's difficult for them to do that because most of the people on the grassroots are strictly from the crust, from the ground to eat. So anybody offer them anything, they will take it. And I don't blame them. To some extent, I really don't blame them. Because the salary cannot take care of the needs.
Let me give you something before you take leave of us here. Let me give you something to think about before you leave. Back in 1974, Tower gave a speech, and Liberian was very happy at the time. The labor workers at the time were making 8 cents an hour, and he raised it from 8 cents to 12 cents an hour, and people were dancing in the street. You know, but at least, even though it was there, it was small, but it was something that if it was regular, people would count on it. Liberians, you just have to have people to have some sort of a stake into this thing here. But thank you very much, my brother. We appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Hey, my man, you said you're going to have this family discussion. What happened?
Hearing formula trial.
Yeah, my man. I read that back to back. I read it every time, my man.
I wanted to do it standing up, not sitting behind a desk because I got to put on my my lawyer robe and all that kind of stuff. But my mother convinced me because they say my stomach too big, so I can't be a big stomach lawyer on TV.
Okay, I'll be with you for you to come on.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a nice day, my brother.
Okay,
thank you for the food, man.
Again, folks, Samson told LeBron Pablo, it's not like we're trying to make people to look bad. But if you make these kinds of pronouncements and you're not following through, then it's just difficult for people to, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't know what is happening with Dr. Weah. The young man came in because you cannot tell me if you were at the if you were at the stadium that day, SKD Stadium. The man spoke for a very long time, and every word that came out of his mouth, I believe within myself because I was there. I believe he himself believed in those words. This is a man that grew up in the street of Monrovia, for Christ's sake. So does it mean that he has some sort of a hidden agenda all alone just to enrich himself once he gets to this place? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But look who's advising him. Why can't he go to a cruel country and bring one of the parliament chiefs to be his advisor? Why can't he go to all the 15 counties and get the parliament, each of the parliament chiefs, one from this person, one, and let him be the advisor? If he want advice, what kinds of advice was our brother, what's his name? The man who was selling Liberian plane. What kind of advice did we give you? What type of advice that you're going to get from this man right now? Okay? This is a man who took Liberia to court. He want to make money. And I don't blame him. Every one of us want to make money. But not like this. This is a small country. And for your building to be named and styled as Presidential Palace in Liberia, that you're going to spend that kinds of money to build. And the funny thing here is that even if this thing is over and they don't go after them, they're not going to be able to sustain the lifestyle that they have now. Because the place they live now, people come here and clean. And they're paying the people. People come here and do the yard work. And they're paying the people. But once they leave government, once this government change, they're not going to have a job. Because first thing, they don't have private businesses. They don't. Many of them don't have any kinds of private entity that can fall back on. So when that opportunity, however way you are making your money, is just not the end. How are you going to support the lifestyle? You see where I'm going? And there are many Liberians who you can point your finger to right now as an example. So then what do? They're going to try their best to hold on to the power. So we got to be very careful how we engage our brothers and sisters. We have to not insulting them. You're not going to get anywhere. But make them to understand that whatever it is that they're doing, they're hurting all of us. And point it out to them. I'm sure they themselves ride the street of Monroe. They see young kids selling in the street, in the middle of the street. These are Liberian kids. These are future. You think there'll be a time that you yourself might not even be able to walk. And the fact that you're not able to walk now, you're laying down somewhere. Look at Madam Salif right now. I bet you sometimes she can be very lonely. You got people who used to visit her before. Most of them don't even do that anymore. So these things don't end well. Mr. George, if you're there, give me a call. Give me a call so we can close these things up. Samson told LeBron Public, these things, and I will go through with this thing here for about a week. We'll do it again Wednesday and Friday. And I think that I need to get back onto formula trial probably next week. Probably next week I need to do so. I need to drink so. But it's going to be difficult for me because I don't drink Bajoko anymore. I need to clear my eye a little bit. Drink heavy Bajoko, then I can't be a lawyer. I will not win no case. But anyway, Samson told Mr. George, if you're listening, give me a call so that I can wrap this thing up because I want to have about 5 minutes or so. Samson told LeBron Public, let's listen again. Samson told LeBron Public, what's on your mind, Mr. George?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, fine. Thanks for calling. Wrap it up for us so we can close it up.
Yeah, you have said a whole lot, so I can't even call it. But I just want to say one or two things. First, for me, I always say this, and I will continue to say it until the we are government can prove me wrong. And my statement always is, we are government, corruption is hanging over our government until they can prove me wrong. And there are a few reasons I say this. Let me go to the $16 billion. When the $16 billion issue came up, we made noise. He decided to ask international community for help. He conducted an audit. Then President William said, institute another local body. They conducted an audit. And gave it to President William. President William now took that report and said he gave it to another professor of the anti-corruption and the unit. Up to today, we don't know what has happened. But one person we want to finish the case out there. When you were in the conference with the Liberian, he is clearly stated that case was closed. The case out there. He clearly stated that the $25 that case was closed. So it means that nothing went on wrong. had interest in the Samuel 12. The Minister of Finance, in his own words, he did to 25 certain amount of money to Young Quota at West Bank. It's the conventional banking. But in that same report, Samuel 12 did not produce any receipt to say how much money he gave the Young Quota at West Point. The same report stated. They said that they took 200,000 to the money changer, to or whatever. They were only 5,000. Now with all these discrepancies, President Weah and the finance of what the head of the team not able to come up to tell some of us what actually happened. Now with that, they gave a way to create suspicion until they can clarify those issues. Some must still believe that the real government is corrupt until they can prove it wrong. Now, this issue of Eugene now will come by swinging. You know, it was so good that Eugene did this thing. Because he's not telling that person we got all these properties. Ghana, Liberia, the United States. When President Black declared it as the money for this property. And this is why we say, for the sake of transparency, for you to be free, the Grandpa cannot speculate, make your asset available. But they said no, he was not forced. And now you can is coming out that the president had all he had here, all the work before becoming president. Where are the documents? And remember, he said the truth, how many people did anybody got it? That was very easy. Very easy. So the president, he had all these properties. Why was not meeting with the people to know this man works? If he had all these properties, the object of money. That's it. You know all these buildings. Is that real?
Mr. Joseph, are you
I'm here. Can you hear me?
okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Sometimes people say, corruption has been power is a long-age power in Nigeria. Yes, we do agree. But someone got to change the table around. It is not because it has been a long issue in Nigeria, systemic corruption in Nigeria, so nobody can change the way we do things. Somebody got to start somewhere from somewhere. Because we have made a promise to the Liberian people that they were coming to change the system. Now, if you were coming to change the system, why you brought all the old wine and put in a new bottle? Is that a system you're coming to change? You spoke about Nigeria will not be special or fine. But look at all the contracts, the major contracts in Nigeria, all both are loving it. What has President we have done to strengthen the local contractors, the local businesses in Nigeria, in terms of finance and putting money into them to compete? What has this government done to change the potential of that for the Liberian people? We saw recently this poor built contractor borrow money from the bank to pay the capital thing that President Weah was going to speak to. This man narrated his story. Borrow money into the bank, hire more people to complete the job. 90% of the job were done. Today, this man cannot get his money. He was whipped by the speaker. Until he pushed around. Is that the narrative that President Weah was coming to change for the Liberian people? Is that a narrative? So to say that it's happening in the past, the people who make the statement that the control of society is happening in the past, it should be done in the present, which of course is absolutely wrong. Because that's why you change government. And President Weah is not doing anything differently to change the lives of the Liberian people. Look at what is going on in the country. How can we say we want to be transparent? And when someone says something, you say you be angry, just provide the facts. Show the evidence. This is what we are doing. This is it. Look at it. So you can convince us. But when you are not seeing this thing, you come out saying at us, telling us what you do. All what you did, said, it has given enough ammunition to go after him to dig more. To see why President we acquire all these properties. What is best that you will read, how much money you are making to come that today you just go on 2 years and build it 5 rooms in Nigeria. We will do the research to see the use number of. You will have to come to show of effort. So,
Yeah.
that's what he said.
Okay.
We're not here, your friend. You are level-headed man. Take your time, put it on paper, and show it to us.
I think what Eugene Nabe has done with that interview,
On the fire.
he actually put himself in a corner, and so now they're going to have to come back and not give us anything like Smith Toby did. They're going to have to now put stuff on paper because this thing is not going to go away. They looked at the snowball continue to roll down the hill and they're picking up steam. If people like Costa get hold of this kind of information, they're done for a while.
Yeah, but they will have to do. They say, "Oh, no, we just say anything. What do we do?" That's how they got operate. We just say that what you will do to us. No, because today, let me say this.
They'll be surprised.
Liberian
are there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then where can they can say this? Yeah. Let me just go on this. But then where they can do anything what they want to do. But the government, like Trump, will not remain the sea. Tomorrow will be fair accountable for that country resources. Just how we continue to push out the war and economic court, we'll make sure someone will continue to push this line. That you cannot come again and just steal from the Liberian poor and get away with it. It's so happy. What they acquire, they will have to show tomorrow to people how they acquire this public gold. You gotta know your salary. Your income will determine how much money you make and how can you acquire the power within the space of those stars. They don't have an idea that each thing within the White House. And let me just go on the note. Mr. In my word, sure, if that is a person, you have to line. This man, when Latin was at war, when the Latin government passed the tree in London, in my word, sure, sued the Latin government.
I couldn't remember his name.
And he won that case.
That sued the Liberian government.
10 million dollars. 10.5 million dollars all that train. The second thing he did was that when you sued the Latin government in New York, Federal Bank was the one who represented the government won that case.
Right.
And is this man today that is interested with of it? Are you really serious to fight corruption? No, these guys won't come back to continue to corrupt the country. But let me just say, so thank you. We'll continue the conversation. But
thank you.
These things that you know, they will not stay and will not remain quiet. We will continue to fight. Someday the government will come and will be willing to accountable in like that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Again, folks, Sam Sinto, Liberian Public Radio. Give me a call here. We're going to be shutting down this stuff here soon. Give me a call, 916-533-2048. It's a very interesting subject matter. When I'm trying to say somebody stole, I have no evidence to say the person stole this or stole that. My thing is, Mr. Nabe, Honorable Nabe, the statement now telling us that the president owned 38 properties on Red Light, owned property in Abidjan, and those things were, I've never heard of those things before. I know he had at one time when he was running for Senate, he declared certain amount and certain property, but I'm not too sure if I even remember those properties being listed. Maybe they did, maybe they did. Maybe they did, but the government of Liberia at the time didn't review those type of things to us, so maybe. But anyway, I'll give you, Mr. Gay, if you need a call now, nobody's on now, the phone is open. I usually don't have any place to park people. I just let you call when somebody is on there, then I let you wait because I don't like parking people, so. Anyway, Samson told Liberian Public Radio folks, if I don't get a call now, I'm going to have to leave here anyway. So, let's play this. Before I go here, let me read something to you very quickly. Let me read something to you, folks. I saw this earlier today, and I've been reading Toba stuff, but this one here got to me a little bit. If I can't find it, then I'll save it for another show. But it was interesting. And this is Toba's speech now, folks. This is not something that Samson Toe is making up. Okay. Okay, something I think is in. You know, one of the things Toba used to do when he read for his in these speeches, sometimes he read it for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes. But okay, I can't find it now, so I will try to. I thought I marked it earlier, but I will try to make that into my next show. But what I wanted to say on that is, you know, sometimes we sit down here and make noise about Concord country and what have you. Oh, the people this, that, all kind of thing we say. But Toba, okay, this is it. Listen to this, folks. This is from President Toba, President of the Republic of Liberia at the time, 1974. He said, "We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority." The less fortunate majority. And we shall remain unrelenting in our determination to improve their lot. In Liberia, and you listen again, as he said, he then said few. Listen to this again. We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. How can the fortunate people in a country be in majority? What happened? How can you have a less fortunate people to be in majority? So that means the people that are in majority are less fortunate. How did they get to be less fortunate? And how did the minority becomes more? What happened? Because they closed the door. They stacked the deck against us. This is coming from Toba. And these are some of the reasons why Toba was getting ready to open it up. But he was not fast enough for the progressive. Toba recognized this. The less fortunate majority among us. Why would you make a statement like that? I thought you said the less fortunate group among us. That means that the people who got more, they're more than the people who don't. But here it's the other way around. People who don't have it, they're more than the people who have it in Liberia. This is back in 1974, the speech. So the corrupt behavior has always been with us, folks. If we wanted, we will work. Look, let me just give it to you as it is before I close. If we want this thing to be resolved, you can't come on platform like this and, oh, we are people, they steal too much. These people, they're so corrupt. You're fooling yourself. You get we are out of there right now. Just say, let's suppose right now, you get we are out. You bring Costa in and all his lieutenants. The corrupt behavior will remain. Nothing gonna change because Costa is just one person, for sure. You bring Dr. Waka in, the corrupt behavior. It's in us. Because we do not support private industry. We do not support privatization of anything else. I'll call him back. Let me just scare him. Samson told Liberian Public Radio, are you calling to make a comment or you want me to call you back? Hello? Hold up.
Hello.
Samson told Liberian Public Radio, do you want me to call you back or you want to make a comment?
Oh, cool.
Hello? He run away. A family member, they know my schedule. Then they call me. They say, "You want a blue?" He ain't up. You think it's easy for me? By the way, let me just close this there, okay? So in terms of corrupt behavior, it's in us. We're gonna do better than that. If you come out here and try to blame everything on Dr. Weir and his people, how he building million houses and things like that. There was an interesting article in Front Page Africa, where Front Page Africa listed different from president to president. Everybody want buildings. But I just read something here from Tower here. Less fortunate majority. How can you run a country with a less fortunate majority and you expect to go anywhere? It's just, the funny thing is, if the less fortunate among you in majority, how are you getting your money? How are you getting your revenue? You get the revenue from the less fortunate people and feed yourself and make yourself fortunate. What kind of business is that? How are you going to move? Man, Liberia, yeah. But anyway, thank you, Jesus, for giving us a land. We have a land. A lot of people can't. Right now, if I want to go to Liberia, right now, I put 1 or 2 cents together, I can go to Liberia, go to Total, and go lay down. Nobody going to bother me. And I'm on land. I'm a country. So we thank God. But anyway, let me say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Samson to Liberian Public Radio. We'll eventually, my brother, we will go to family trial here soon. But I want to make sure by the time I'm ready, my robe, my lawyer robe will be ready. I'm not a lawyer. I'll play one on TV, and then you'll see another talent, a talented Liberian. You'll see. I'll be speaking the law book. It might be all total English, but who cares? The law book. Yeah, let me give you an example before I close. Your Honor, the time when we were where and they were where, who were where? I'm just having fun with you guys. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I want to thank all of you. The line is open. Nobody's calling, so everybody want to watch. That's fine. So I'm having fun with you guys. Thank you very much. Please, before I leave, this disease, in fact, they say killing children now too. So it has no boundary. Please take care of yourself, so that we all can meet on platform like this and have discussion about our country. When you come from outside, you come from shopping center, because you will have to buy food. Wash your hands. You touch the doorknob, clean it. Even if the disease, it will run your stomach. It will run your stomach just like going to malaria. And you know, back when you say my stomach running, you say, where are you going? Going to malaria? Yeah. You know how when your stomach ready to run, like somebody holding your intestine, turning there. The people say can do worse than that. So you gotta be careful. You got to be careful. The disease ain't not easy. You come from out, wash your hands. Those of you that are in contact with sick people and things like that, you come, go to the garage, take out your uniform, pack it, or if you can just put it in the machine, washing machine, right away. If you don't have no washing machine, put it in the water, let him put some soap on it overnight. In a day, you wash it, hang him up. Please. The disease, when it catch you, and not easy. The people get medicine here, they themselves debating. Look at the White House. They're fighting for people to have they want to open the country back up so people can go out to restaurant. Look how many people over there catching the disease. One of the person, Miller wife. You know who Miller is? Okay, I want to put my mother before Donald Trump come after me. Let me get out of here, sir. Okay, folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to LIBERIA Public Radio. Please, on a very serious note, the corruption is a disease that affects all of us. You can sit in your comfort, right in a comfortable living room behind your computer, and you write how corrupt this government is. You take you from here, and I'm just giving it to you. I said they take you from here right now, put you in the same position. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Some of us stay here and support corrupt behavior back home. You have your family member in court, or your family member, they say, oh, the person in jail. But the person bring society so they can free him. And you're rushing, finding the money quick. The Senate so they can free him. You're not asking for legal issues so they can go to court. You want him to be free. That's who we are. And so it's not one person. Let us don't try to just wrap it around Dr. Weir and his people. The corrupt behavior is with all of us. We have to re-examine ourselves. That's why I say, good night, folks. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. Let's meet again tomorrow. Tune in for Mr. Soul Show. Oh, yesterday, you watched Mr. Soul? Oh, my goodness. He has a doctor on, and it was very interesting. I think, I'm not going to say it, but let's wait and see Mr. Soul Show tomorrow and see what he's going to say about that. But it was very interesting, very interesting. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. Good night, folks.
Say Para